Okay, thanks. I've made myself a coffee, so now I'm ready. It's burning. It's good. Okay, so I'm here today to talk, as you have seen on the title, about the books I've read in January and what I thought of it. So let's not wait and jump into it. The first book I finished this month is The Priory of the Orange Tree by Samantha Shannon, and yeah, I have mixed feelings about this book. It is a fantasy book about an ancient enemy returning and the belief that the lineage is preventing this enemy to return. I loved the way that Shannon wrote it, because there was 4 timelines, 3 with women, with powerful women, showing that they can lead a plot, that they can not just be there as an ornament, but leading. But there was a timeline about a character named Sulyod, and I just couldn't care about him. My favorite character was Ed. I don't know if you read it, but if you read it, I think you know what I mean. Overall, I had fun reading it, even if the setting of the book was a bit long, whereas the end feels a bit rushed. I didn't struggle to read it, even though it is 900 pages, except for the timeline of Soliad at the end. I just couldn't. I have to admit it, I flew some pages. At the end, the epilogue of Soliad, I couldn't care. So I'd say that I liked it, but knowing that the prequel, A Day of Fallen Night, is a bit repetitive, it's just not a favorite. I didn't rate it 5 stars, I just gave it like 4, maybe 4.5 stars. Next, I've read This Violent Delight by Chloe Gong. This book is set in China, 1920s, and 2 heirs of opposite gangs are forced to cooperate even though they're enemies, because there is a kind of madness emerging in Shanghai. And this is supposed to be inspired a retelling of Romeo and Juliet by Shakespeare, and sometimes I love YA books. This is a historical fiction one, but this one was not for me because I thought that it was not so well written. Like, I have a quote, let me find it. Okay, hear it. Her sales betrayed her at a molecular level. It was filled with those kind of quotes, and it's not for me. I'll finish the duology because I struggle not to finish a series, even though I don't like it that much, because I always have the hope that it will get better and that I'm not missing something, you know? And on Goodreads, the rating are better for the sequel, so I'm gonna read it, but I don't have much expectation for it. Next, there is As Long as the Lemon Tree Grows by Zulfa Ketu. This is the beautiful story of Salama, who is a student in pharmacy and who is volunteering at the Hospital of Homs during the civil war in Syria. And it is a YA book about mental health, about a bit of romance, about political conflicts. There even are Ghibli references, and it was beautifully written. The pace of the story is quite good. The characters are moving. It was a moving story. I almost shed tears. I was moved. I was touched, I was everything, and in this book, I give it 5 stars. It is a favorite. I loved it. Next, I finished A Prayer for the Crown Shy by Becky Chamber, and I loved it. It's the continuation of the first book of the duology, and this is Dex and Moscap touring the towns to get the answer to the question, what do humans need? This is just kindness, the art of noticing, the celebration of mundane. I just loved it. I rated it 4 stars. It's a favorite, such as the first one. No surprises, I was not disappointed. Next, I've read The Witcher by Andrzej Sapkowski. This one is a fantasy novel about Geralt, who is a witcher, and his powers comes from a severe training from his childhood and elixirs, and I just couldn't stop reading it. It was well written. This is little stories to introduce us Geralt and to get to know him better, his way of living, and how he kills these monsters because he's paid. I don't know. He's paid to kill these monsters. It was a funny way of writing, and the setting is in the Middle Ages. I thought it was funny, but sometimes it made me uncomfortable. I can't pronounce this word because it is a misogynistic world, so there are sentences that made me uncomfortable. But overall, I still had fun with it, so I'll continue the series. If it gets worse and worse about the misogynistic world, I'll just stop reading it. I have the chance that my boyfriend have them, so I don't know if it is a good thing. If he likes it, I will have to DM him, but I hope he's not seeing this video. This is a test. I will see if he's watching them. But beware if you're watching this, because if you're liking it, even though it is a misogynistic world, I will butcher you. I still give it 4.5 stars because I liked the world, I liked how this is set, and I thought that the morally grey character was interesting, so I'm curious about the rest of the series. Talking about misogynistic worlds, I finished volume 11 of Sunken Rock, the deluxe edition. I just began to read it because I was hyped by the drawings of Boichi, which are incredible. But the story is about a young man who is a bit lost in his life. He doesn't know what to do, and he's in love with this girl who is going to Korea to be a policewoman. And he kind of follows her, and he slowly become a gang leader. And there is a lot of there is hentai in it, and women are just here to please the men, and they're always naked as hell. What the heck? It made me uncomfortable several times, and I really don't know why I'm keeping to read it. Actually, I know because at that time I tend to buy each month a volume, and I got myself with 10 volumes, even though I just read maybe 3 volumes because I was moving and those volumes weren't at my place, and I just kept buying it. I will not make this mistake again, buying volumes to just get an advance, knowing that I can read a lot if I want. But if I don't like it, I'm just I'm just having mangas that I don't like, and I'll finish it because I have all the 13 volumes of the deluxe edition. Again, because I struggle not to finish a series to see if I'm missing something. But I don't think I'm missing something with this one. The drawings are incredible because it is boyishi, but the story is not for me at all. No, no way. I'll just resell it after I've finished it. Next, I read volume 6 and 7 of Black Butler, and I loved these volumes. They are about Ciel a lot, and Sebastian, his butler, who are solving crimes in the name of the Queen. And this is set in England, and they're solving crime in a circus, and I loved it. It was giving American Horror Story slash Night Circus vibes, and I just love the setting of this manga. I couldn't stop reading. It just gets more and more interesting. It is giving Sherlock Holmes gothic vibes in a fantasy world, and I love it. Next, I've read volume 6 of Yana the Dawn, and I still love it. In this volume, Yana is trying to prove that she has value, even though she was raised in a castle protected from any harm. And there is a tiny bit of romance in it. For now, I'm never disappointed by it, so I'll just keep reading it. And I have volume 7 waiting for me already, so can't wait to read the next one. Next, I've read the 2 first volumes of Banana Fish by Akemi Yoshida, and this is a manga about Ash, who is the leader of a gang of young people, and he's trying to find why his older brother went mad during the Vietnamese War, and I preferred Banana Fish to Second Rock because even if the drawings are not as good as Boishi, because he made a lot of research to have realistic drawings, even if Sunken Rock has a lot of references to Japanese food and Korean food, that the author made research about it. I prefer this one because even if it was written and published during the 80s, this is LGBTQ friendly. At least in Banana Fish, the women are not sexualized all the time, and the drawings reminds me a bit of Akira, another manga I love, even if they have not as much details as in Akira, but I loved it. Can't wait to read the next ones! Okay, so these are all the books I've read this month, and I'm pleased with it because I began to make YouTube videos and it's taking me quite a long time to understand how it's working, so it's not that bad. I've managed to take time to read also, so I'm really happy with what I've read because there are some favorite books too, so a winning for me. It is a win for me.